All right, everybody, silent drum roll so that we don't shake the microphones. This is episode 100.
100, baby.
Of Own the Exit. And on today's show, it's hard to believe, one episode every single week for almost the last 2 years.
We've been going 2 years, so.
We've had over 16,000 of you out there that have been engaging with Own the Exit every single month. And so right here at the top of the show, I'm going to ask you, do something for me. Hit the subscribe button, get connected, comment, share, help us celebrate 100 episodes of Own the Exit. And on today's show, we're going to talk about how did we get here, some of the guests that we have talked to on this show, and for the first time ever, Aaron and I are going to do the exit round, and we're going to give our answers to the 5 questions that we ask every single guest that gets on the show. So without further ado, welcome to episode 100. All right, Aaron, 2 years ago, when you and I, a little over 2 years ago, when you and I were dreaming and believing that starting this podcast was something that was worth the investment of time, money, effort, and energy, we really had some things in our heart and our mind that we wanted to speak to the entrepreneurial community that we felt like was not being talked about enough. And that's this idea of building with the end in mind. And so on this show, you know, we talk a lot about developing the right mindset and the right values that kind of fuel your desired end game as an entrepreneur. We talk about how to create systems that make business smarter and more autonomous so that you can have options, right? So that you're not trapped inside your business, but you have the ability to come and go. You know, you don't want to be trapped in a nicer cage that just has your brand on it, right? But build a business that actually is able to run itself. And then also we talk a little bit about getting your business prepared for someone else to buy it or for it to be merged with another company. And then from time to time, we champion the idea of allocating portions of the cash flow you're generating from your business into other kind of uncorrelated alternative investments that will help you to secure your exit and your end game. But if you're looking back, when we were first trying to come up with the theme and brand of this show, walk us through a little bit of it. I mean, obviously I was there, but for our listeners, walk us through a little bit of how we kind of came to the name Own the Exit.
Yeah, I think everything you said, I think in business, it's so easy to just get focused on the immediate, right? The revenue driving, the getting your systems in place and all this stuff. Trying to think, 5 years in the future. I mean, we have a few businesses that we're doing together where we've modeled out, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, what's this business going to be worth? Because, and maybe we just keep running those businesses for our whole lives, or maybe we, like Caleb said, you said maybe you stay in that business running it, maybe you sell it, maybe you merge, maybe you just don't do anything, but at least you have that value. So I love it because it's not vague, right? It's like you do that when you're putting together a real estate deal. You don't just buy it and go, well, I don't know what it's going to be worth in 5 years, and who cares? We'll figure it out then. Like no investor is going to want to go into that. They're going to want to know that you planned out your 5 years or your 7 years, and it may not go exactly as you planned. It's going to either be better or worse because there's external factors and stuff like that. But we don't do that with a business so many times. We start a business and we're like, well, let's just try to make ends meet and hopefully have some left over for us, right? As the owners, or, instead of thinking long term, right? Thinking with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey's book there, one of his principles. I love it. And so I think that was something where we felt like maybe there was not as much on that particular aspect of business, because we saw a lot of stuff on like marketing and how to start the business, and there's just like proliferated with that kind of content. But on the exit side, I felt like that was where we could add value. And it's something that we're walking out and trying to live out and everything too. So a lot of the guests on here have just been awesome because it's so much advisors or people that have exited businesses or people that are all around that theme. Where every time we do an episode, I feel like I'm getting I leave like with, I just got schooled.
New education,
on something with
new
their
knowledge.
Journey on each guest that we've had on here.
So we've had high-level influencers. We've had marketing experts. We've had people who have figured out how to make more money in 2 days a week than they were working their business 5 days a week. We've had attorneys. We've had M&A experts. We've had so many
People
different
with multi-million-dollar exits, 8, 9-figure.
Even like AI geniuses, right? Who craft and build these crazy AI agents that can sort of take your business autonomous, right?
Yeah.
Like all of those kind of things. And throughout that, I'd love for you just like, what's one kind of highlight for you? Just one. One highlight from all on the road to 100 episodes. I mean, I know there's got to be a lot, but is there one that kind of stands out above the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple people on that, for me, one of the big takeaways was the windiness of an entrepreneurial journey. Of so many people, I'm thinking of a couple of the guests, but it was like a common theme of, I started out doing this, but it morphed into that, and this didn't work, and then the side thing worked, and then I'm doing this other thing, and there's a thread of building like stepping stones, building blocks, right, to get to that place of success, but it's not usually linear. And that's something we've just seen over and over through entrepreneurs, talking with them and our journey. It's like you're going from point A to point B, but it's a zigzag. So a couple of steps back, forward, then a huge momentum, and we've just seen it over and over again, to success. So that was for me a big theme. We see whenever we interview these guests, how are you doing that?
Yeah,
and they're like, well, I don't even know. I didn't plan to do it exactly this way 10 years ago, but I just didn't quit.
Yeah. I think my highlight was very early on, actually. And we've had some, it's hard to pick one, right? So I could probably sit here and give you 20 highlight moments from 20 different guests or 20 different episodes. But one that just kind of comes top of mind is our interview early on within, I don't know, it was the first 10 or 15 episodes with Keaton Hoskins, and how the story that the illustration he shared of if everyone could walk around with an hourglass sitting on their shoulder that showed them exactly how much time they had left in their life. What decisions would you make differently now if you knew how much time you had left to live, and what decisions would you make in your business, but also with how your business contributes to your overall life? Because I think that really is the heart and soul behind Own the Exit, is understanding we don't build businesses just to build businesses. We build businesses because we want to build better lives. We're entrepreneurs because we're great at solving problems. We want to get paid well for solving problems, ultimately, so that we can solve the problem of having freedom in our life to really give more of our attention and energy to the things that we actually truly care about and that actually truly matter. And that's kind of the entrepreneurial trap that so many fall into, right? Is forgetting that time is short, life is short, and
the business is supposed to work for you, not the other way around.
Exactly. And I think of it like the whole idea behind Own the Exit is you wouldn't go into a building ever if there wasn't clearly defined a door where you could get out. That's called prison. A building that you go into that you don't know how you're going to get out of. Or that there's no clearly defined way to get out of it. And most of the time, people start building businesses. It's like they're building houses, right? Or they're building, and the goal is build a nice, big, beautiful mansion.
Nice, big, beautiful prison.
Yeah, but what you end up building is a nice, big, because the thing that you forget to build is a door. And so now you're in this nice branded cage, this prison that you can't get out of, that you're tied to, and that there's no options, there's no exit strategy. And you wouldn't go into any kind of, like you said before, any kind of investment without at least knowing how you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Even in a worst case scenario, how am I going to get out of this, even if I lose?
Yeah.
But so that to me is such an important conversation for entrepreneurs.
That's a lot of this podcast, and it's kind of the theme that you see through the episodes and stuff that we're trying to make people think.
Yeah, just think about it.
Some of the most successful entrepreneurs and business owners haven't thought about that. Yeah, and then their business gets it gets intertwined with them.
Yeah.
And then they can't separate themselves. And if they do, the business dies,
It becomes an identity.
They stay there. Yep, an identity. whether it's just through processes, through ego, through just not thinking, with the end in mind, right? But
and there's a big myth that entrepreneurs believe that if they aren't selling their soul to the business, and maybe they wouldn't say it out loud, but if we're honest, deep down inside, if I'm not selling my soul to the business, then I'm not taking it seriously and I'm not going to be as successful as I could be. And that's so far from the truth, because at the end of the day, the whole Rich Dad, Poor Dad that's in the opening of every episode, right? Like you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and dreamed of one day building a successful business that others would manage, right? So that you could sit back and watch the money pile up.
They do the first part of that.
They do the first part.
They build a successful business, but they don't sit back and watch the cash flow in while someone else manages it, because they haven't thought about the exit part.
Right.
Or how to get out.
Exactly.
And even if you really want to get out, because I think there's a lot of people who are like, well, hey, I love running my business.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But you still need to be able to remove yourself. What if you get sick? What if there's circumstances? What if you have to take time off? Like you don't want everything to just go down. Like you need to have people that can just step in and just run it for you, and maybe even better.
Absolutely. So, man, let's dive into the exit round. It was funny because we realized that over 100 episodes, that we're on episode 100, and I don't know that you and I have ever just went through and answered the exit round. And if your first time you're watching on the exit is episode 100, then what the exit round is, when we have a guest on here, we ask every guest at the end of the episode in a lightning rapid fire round called the exit round, 5 questions that are always super enlightening and super encouraging to hear where different people are at in their journey of owning the exit. And so let's dive in. I'll ask question number 1. How about let's do it this way? We'll ask it, you'll answer it, then I'll answer it. And then flip.
Yeah.
Does that work? Cool. Okay. So Aaron, what is your all-time favorite business book?
I mean, one of the very first business books I ever read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that's about half our guests on the show. And so for me, that was just a book that made me think about money.
Yeah.
So it was so foundational. Assets versus liabilities. Another book is Good to Great.
Yeah.
An amazing book about leadership and running companies and just mindset and team building and all that. But I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Even though everyone says that.
Yeah.
But that book is just so good as a foundational mindset book.
Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I would have said Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but I can't say, not because it's like chock full of like really great operational or business principles, but
it's just the thinking.
It sets the right trajectory for entrepreneurs of like, this is what, if you're entrepreneurially wired, this is what you should be doing. This is what you should be building. I would say outside of that, from an operational standpoint, I really like Traction by Gino Wickman.
Yeah.
That book is very, very practical, very tactical on the operations side. How to build, manage, and run teams, how to run and manage meetings. His whole kind of entrepreneurial operating system is hugely beneficial. And so I would say Traction by Gino Wickman is one for me.
Nice. Caleb, what percentage of your current income is fully passive?
Yeah, I did this calculation knowing this question was coming. It's a little over 25%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little over 25% right now. Part of that's because we're building and growing right now very aggressively in our, scaling our businesses. So obviously that income is higher. But yeah, 25%. If you'd asked me that 3 years ago, it would have been closer to 50, but we figured out ways to make more money.
That sounds good. Yeah, for me, it's I don't have a lot of passive income. I mean, it's probably 20%.
Yeah.
Relative to, but part of that is just growing, I mean, you can make a certain amount of money passively, but you can make even more money actively.
Yeah.
Because you have both factors working. But I did a calculation, and I think I'm putting about 80% of my income back into making more, but actively.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really like free me.
Yeah.
But I think, the goal is to gradually get more and more on the passive, to where it kind of overshadows the active, but still do the active because it's just fun, right?
Well, it's fun, and we can, and we're in
Yeah.
the stage of life where we should be working, right?
Right.
And so, absolutely. So, yeah, Aaron, what is one thing that you wish that you could do more of, but your commitments to business hold you back?
Man, this is a good one. There's not a lot that my business holds me back from doing.
Yeah.
I can work remotely. I can receive income anywhere. I have a team, and I would say 3 years ago I wouldn't have been able to say that. I didn't really have a team.
Yeah.
But I think like with, being able to build out processes and people in our company that are better at doing stuff than I would be, it has given me a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
To,
I mean, you just spent the last 5 weeks in Hawaii with your family, and
yeah.
waking up at 4:30 a.m. to work, but it didn't hold you back from being able to go, do that really cool thing with your wife and your boys.
Yep. It enabled me to just still work on things that were needed and not work if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
But it's taken a little while to get there, but I find whenever when you sign up for a new project or something like renovating this podcast studio, this is part of our office building that we renovated. It was a grind, and it did. This particular project stopped me from doing things I wanted to do because I had to be here and I had to make a lot of decisions and stuff like that. But it comes in waves too, right?
Right.
Because when you're in business, sometimes you're like, well, let me take on this new initiative, and then that stops you now from doing this, having the freedom.
Yeah.
But it's kind of self-inflicted.
Right. Yeah. Well, all of it at the end of the day is self-inflicted because we could just quit tomorrow, right? And
yeah.
No, I would say for me, I'm kind of right there with you. I think it's more of a mindset though of like, is your business holding you back, or is your business what enables you to do a lot of the things that you previously wish that you could do more of? And that's kind of the theme of On the Exit. Like, our companies, we've built them in such a way to where they actually empower me more to be able to do a lot of the things that previously I wish that I could do more of. And that's help other people, serve other people in achieving their goals, be able to coach and mentor, and all those different kind of things that we do in our, our coaching company, Multiplier U. And like you, we've been able to build these businesses in such a way where if I want to take 3 weeks and, or a month or whatever, and go on a road trip with my family, or go on a trip, or go do, spend time with them, then I can work remotely and be able to still get my core responsibilities and jobs done, responsibilities in the company done. And so I wouldn't say there's a whole lot. I kind of, my perspective is that the way we're building business is actually empowering me to do more of the things that I wish that I could do more of. So that's my mindset. Yeah. So,
all right.
If you could go back in time, Aaron, what advice would you give yourself about building a business?
Yeah, for me, I would say my one piece of advice would just be to network and build relationships. Because I just remember when I was younger, I just didn't do that. I just kind of just figured it out myself.
Yeah, solopreneur.
I just did it.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't have time to go talk to that guy or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I've just realized like the value of of relationships and network. And you can, it's like they say, everything you need comes through someone else.
Yeah.
And the more people the more, opportunities you have for business, right? But it takes time to build relationships. And so that would be one thing that I would say to myself is like, hey, get started on that early. You can always make money like any time, but you can't have those deeper relationships. Like that takes time to build that trust and that. So networking is something I wish I had done more of.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it would be stack skills sooner, right? Because early on in business, like there's a lot of talk about finding your unique ability, finding the thing that you're really great at, and finding a way to just do that as much as possible. But the most successful people are able to take that kind of natural talent, unique ability, and then stack skills on top of that.
Yeah.
That allow them to actually execute that in a way that's impactful. So marketing, for example, I wish that I had learned how to stack the skill of being a great marketer sooner. Because I think that would have propelled me in being able to express my unique ability and do more faster. So yeah, I think I would give myself the advice, stack skills sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's your strategy for creating time freedom and financial freedom for yourself? Question 5.
Yeah, it's building a business and then letting some of the cash from that business go into other uncorrelated alternative investment assets.
Yeah.
That's really it. I mean, building a business that has value, that generates cash flow, that generates a strong income for me and my family, that can either continue to do that or can be sold and exited for a big payday, but then simultaneously not putting all of my eggs in just that basket, but distributing some of that cash flow as I'm building the business and as we're, creating more of that, distributing that into more alternative investments that also generate cash flow or preserve that, hedge it against inflation, preserve it and grow it over time. So that's my strategy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Same, just working actively and taking chunks of that and putting into things that are passive. And then also just kind of clearly defining like my role in even what I'm building. Because if you start a business, you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
I could take out the garbage. I could be the manager. I could, you get to set those roles in place. And so I've just been learning to for my role to just be what I do. And then that does create some of that time freedom, I think for me, because I'm doing the things that have more of an aptitude for, right? And I think that creates time freedom because I'm not bogged down doing things I'm not good at or just or don't like and so that's another, I guess, strategy for me, right? Is getting into the passive income that doesn't require my involvement, but then also on the active side, just really staying in my lane and just doing what I do best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All really great questions, all really great answers. Listeners, we would encourage you on celebrating episode 100 of Own the Exit. What are your answers to these questions? Are you thinking about these things? Obviously, the business book question at the start is, just kind of a popular question, but then really digging into asking the question, like, am I building passive income streams that are uncorrelated to my primary business in case my plan doesn't go perfectly? Because the reality is it might not go exactly the way that you want it to. It's kind of like when we do an apartment deal, right? Like we say nothing ever goes to pro forma, right? It's a projection. Outperforms or it underperforms. We've never seen a single deal hit pro forma right on the head.
But you still have that plan.
And you execute it and you can usually be successful
and you track
at
to it. I actually read a statistic that businesses, and this is just a random stat, but businesses that have actual written plans, financial plans, like 5-year plans, grow 30% faster than businesses that don't.
Wow. Yeah.
And they're still doing the daily work, but they're checking in, right? With those like milestones. Yeah. And it's not going to go exactly to pro forma, right? You just crush it for a year and then you're like, oh, and then you suffer for, just how business is, right? But you have that plan.
Yeah. It's goal setting for your business. Yeah. Right. It's goal setting. It's like, what should things look like?
Yeah. And that was
a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, even 10 years from now, right? Yeah. What should things look like? And then comparing where we are to where we think they should be. So
it's having a plan.
Yeah. Having a plan, having a goal, executing that.
To have that freedom.
So go through these questions. What's your all-time favorite business book? What percentage of your income is passive? And kind of the add-on to that is what's your plan for increasing that passive income? What's one thing you wish you could do more of, but your current business commitments are holding you back? If you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself about building a business? And then lastly, what is your strategy for creating time freedom and financial freedom for yourself and for your family? This is the exit round. This is episode 100 of Own the Exit. Thank you guys for being a part of this journey with us, and we're excited for 100+ more episodes. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. See you next time.